This was our next property. It was a four-play bought about 2021. It was in I would say a C or a D class neighborhood for sure. We didn't know the area well enough, unfortunately, which was my own error. It was very rundown. The owner had owned it since 1973, and pretty much everything was original from 1973. It had the original furnaces, had the original hot water tanks, original roof, and so we bought it for $580, I think, and we had to put quite a bit down into the property to fix it up. Over the 2 years that we owned it, we got the rents from about $900 a month to about $1,500 a month. It actually wound up being a very good property for us. We were told that it was a really bad area, and that there was a lot of crime and, stuff like that. We were told that after we bought it, by the way. But in actuality, we had very little problems with it. We had one or two difficult tenants over the 2 years. But in reality, everybody paid us on time, very few problems. We did fix the place up quite a bit, put a lot of money in. We replaced 3 of the 4 furnaces, 3 of the 4 hot water tanks, redid the roof, and then renovated, I think, 3 of the 4 units. One of the tenants was original from our purchasing it and had some issues, and so they chose not to have anything done to their unit. So we did get the rents from about anywhere between $900 and $1,000. They had one new tenant that was paying $1,000 when we bought it, but we were at $1,450 or $1,500 by the time we sold it. There was a few interesting pieces to this that was a very valuable learning experience for us. When we had first started, because we knew that we had to finance out of our original mortgage, and so we started looking quite early for new financing, and we were told probably 6 to 8 months before that we would have no problem getting an 80% loan to value on the property, which was perfect because that was about how much equity we had in it over the 2 years that we'd purchased it. However, with all of the raises, that was right in the crux of that, of all of those interest rate. I think we had 6 or 8 interest rate rises in like 4 to 6 months. And so we quickly went from being okay in our equity position to being drastically undervalued in our equity position. And so unfortunately we got into a situation where the best we could get for financing was actually a 65% loan to value ratio, which would have been okay had I known that ahead of time, but because I had mistakenly thought we were okay, I went ahead and purchased an additional property, and it left our cash reserves low, which is something I definitely learned, was to be careful of cash reserves when you're refinancing, especially when market rates are going up. The other thing I learned is the difference between something like a fourplex, which is still considered a residential property, versus a fiveplex or above, which is considered commercial. So when we bought the place, as I said, we were getting $900 a month rent. When we were done, we were getting about $1,500 a month rent, and all the utilities were paid by the tenants. The property taxes and the insurance were the only things that we had to pay out of that, and of course our mortgage payment. We had to pay out of the income from the property, but the rent increases actually pretty much went to the bottom line. And so we had approximately $2,000 a month that just flowed right to the bottom line, which makes very little difference in a residential purchase. But if that had been a commercial property, the value of that property would have been substantially increased compared to what it was, because it was considered a residential property. And so that was a learning experience for me, for sure. We did manage to make a decent profit on the property when we sold it. Just people wanted to get into not multifamily, but they wanted to, be able to buy a property where they could sort of house hack or whatever, so they could live in one of the units. And so we were able to sell it quite quickly for cash. We made a substantial profit on it. But I can tell you that fortune was definitely on our side, as well as some really great people that work with us, because this could have very easily gone bad really quickly, since we simply couldn't refinance, and the lender that we had, they wanted to be out of the property, and so they were unwilling to renew their note on this property. And so it could have gone the other way, but it didn't, and I'm fortunate for that. I learned a lot, and definitely will take those things with me to the next deals. Have a great day. Bye-bye.